Good evening.
Hey, Khalid, how are you?
Phenomenal. I'm good. How are you doing tonight?
Let me put my volume up to hear you.
You hear me?
Hold on one moment.
One, two, one, two.
Cannot hear you yet. You might be able to hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, Mr. Ventura.
Hello?
Mike, I don't know.
Justin, one, two, one, two.
Yeah,
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you. It's just an echo with
Okay then.
Somebody's getting an echo. Hello?
Is it okay now?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
We had a little feedback earlier. Okay. So it's just the two of us. Hold on.
No, good evening, Angela
Yes.
Cindy.
Okay. Oh, Cheryl.
Good evening.
How are you? Good evening, Cheryl. So
Angela Cindy from Reactor.
Right. We have 7 of us there.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get all of them right.
How do you spell your name so I can rename you? Well, it has your phone name at the moment, Miss Angela.
Angel with an A on the end. Angela. Sealy, Sealy.
Okay. That's good? I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, Angela Sealy. Yes, I can see that. Yes.
I have a few updates, Mr. Almanor.
Okay, go ahead.
Just when when you call the meeting to order.
Right.
Yeah, just updates that the Transportation Committee I guess been looking out for.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did look at the agenda. I think part of it is go over the update, so we'll come to that. I mean, if you give me, I might be able to share my screen. Let me see if I could.
Okay, hold on just a moment.
Put it up, put the agenda up also for everyone to see. Okay.
Okay.
Let me do that. Let me go here. Go back. Yeah. And this is Vanessa. Okay. Some meeting. If I share my screen. And everyone see the agenda?
Yes, I can see it. Thank you.
Okay. We'll put that up. So I will admit people as they come in. And did everybody get a copy of the minutes? Because we're gonna have to approve those before we move on. You should have received them as part of the meeting announcement. The attachment, the Twitch attachment, that's there. And also, did everybody got the meeting announcement with the Zoom link and everything else?
I'm sorry. I'm Cheryl Saunders. I just recently was invited, so I didn't have a chance to see the agenda or read the minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll share my screen with the minutes so we could look at them quickly also. The same way I'm sharing the agenda for now. Okay. So let's see.
The iPhone user, if you can just please identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Wong.
Welcome, Ms. Wong.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. There's someone else that has just iPhone in their name, calling from an iPhone.
Also, we have M. Hackett. M. Hackett, is that Tessa?
No, my name is Michelle Charles, Hackett Charles. Actually,
okay.
I was invited to the meeting regarding the street renaming.
Oh, welcome. I'm looking forward to this. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hi. Somebody just came in. Callista. Is this Callista that just popped in?
Yes.
How are you, Callista? Thank you for coming.
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. So it's 7:02. We're going to give another 3 or 4. Hopefully by 7:05 we could call this meeting to order and get started. Yeah, Khalida. Okay. Stanley. And VJ. Wells. Okay. If I'm calling your name because we're not familiar with the name. So we're going to ask everybody to introduce themselves very quickly. So we'll call this meeting to order at 7:05. Well, at the last meeting, Khalid, Mia were the person who took the minutes. Let me see any members of the committee here who would like to volunteer to take the minutes. Paco, Callista, Valerie, Jeffrey, or Stanley. Callista, would you kindly help us take the minutes for this meeting? If you are able to do so. Or able or willing. Looking for volunteers.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to pass.
The last one, because Kylie is trying to do two at the same time. It was taken by Mia, the assistant.
I can take them if you don't find a volunteer.
Okay, great. Mhm.
Couple users that just need, there's the iPhone user. I think they changed their name.
Are they fixed it? Okay. So, you know, what you'll be able to do for me is to do the roll call also, because you have the list of the committee members, both board members and committee resident members. Okay, so that's what we start. Everyone can see the agenda. Put it.
Yes.
Nice and compact agenda. Okay.
Excuse me, Nicholas, could I see the top, the heading, the organization? Because committee.
Oh, the head of the committee member.
It's from the transportation. I can't see the top.
Oh, this is the okay.
The transportation committee meeting, or the community board 19. Okay, thank you.
This is community board, and then the list of 2 people were all the members of the committees, both the
I was just
board
curious.
members and the committee resident members. So these are the
I was
people
just curious about who is holding the meeting and who's on the committee. Yes.
Right. Okay. So that's why we will do roll call. All right. At this time, if there is any objection, I'd like to call this meeting to order. So Khalid, you could turn on the recording. Okay. So this meeting is being called to order at 7:06 p.m. I'm Nicholas Almono. I'm the chair of Park Recreation and Culture Committee. I'm also one of the members of the executive committee. I'm a member at large. Our chairperson who been doing the ad hoc chair of this committee is not available today, and I was asked to stand in for him. As a member at large, I try to admit as many meetings as I possible so I could get a good understanding what's happening in the community board. So we just call this meeting to order. So Khalid, if you can, why don't you proceed with roll call? And then we could get some of our guests and invitees to introduce themselves and do that. Okay, so let's do the roll call, and then we're going to go to the minutes and going to go to get the approval of the minutes, and we'll move on to the next item in the agenda, which is the co-naming request. So we'll take care of that first and foremost. And after our updates, we will go to a motion for our recommendation for this request. Go ahead, Khalid, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. So Stuart Balberg.
I think he's absent. I didn't see him there.
Okay. Ted Pilkati.
Okay, yeah.
Felice Robinson.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Robertson, present.
Yeah. Robertson, yes, she's here.
Robertson, yes.
Okay. Dave Paco Abraham.
Present.
All right. Stanley Greenberg.
Here.
Celesta de Jesus.
Celesta de Jesus.
Jesus.
Here.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
All right. All that is all who I have right now.
Hold on. That's all you have.
Valerie Fleming, present.
There should be more. There should be more.
Valerie Fleming.
If we look at the agenda.
Jeffrey Granum, present.
Jeffrey Granum also.
Jeffrey Graham, all right. If you remember, I don't have the list, so if you just please.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll help you through the list if you miss anybody.
That is all who I had on my list.
Yeah, but did you have Yakov Pearson? That should be part of the list.
No, I'm looking at
Dave Paco Abraham.
Yes, he's present.
He's here. Valerie Fleming and Stanley Greenberg. I think everybody's here.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a full call. So thank you guys for attending. If you guys don't know me before, I'll just reintroduce myself. I'm Nicholas Almono. I'm a member at large of Community Board 9. I chair primarily the Park Recreation and Culture Committee. Our chair is not available today, so he asked me to go and conduct the meeting today for the Transportation Committee. Our first item in the agenda, if you have not seen it, is the request for the street co-naming. So there were a couple of attachments. I don't know, the committee members were able to look at them and go through it? Anyone, anybody? Did everybody able to see the attachment with the requests and some of the attachment with the testimonial for the renaming of President Street and what is it, Nelson Avenue?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So at this point, if people like to introduce who they are and why they would like they're here today, and then we'll discuss a lot more. And anything anybody wants to bring regarding the co-naming of presidents, you do not have the need to just come in our way. So
Domino, I think we have a elected official representative.
oh, sure. Okay. At which time? Well, maybe we will let him or her speak. First, who's the elected official representative? Who's here with us? We want to say welcome.
Christian Jeffries.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Kristen Jeffries. I'm representing Councilmember Crystal Hudson's office. I serve as the Director of Constituent Services and Community Engagement. Just here to listen and take notes. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much. Thank you for attending. Okay. Is there anyone who would like to come and talk about the wonderful work that Ms. Joyce Kwamina have done in this community and give us some of us a background why should and tell us the reason for this committee to recommend this street co-naming. So I'm happy Mr. Jeffries from Council Member Hudson is here because that would be the offices that's really going to be instrumental to get that done. Okay. Anyone you could use the raise hand function if you like to talk about this request. You could put the raise hand question, or since no one is, and then you could do that.
Sure. This is Michelle Gibbs, chair for the Western American Day Carnival Association, and I'm here with the former chair, Ms. Angela Seeley, representing the Carnival Association. Ms. Seeley would like to speak, so I just want to take the floor.
Ms. Seeley, you have the floor. We all ears. We'd like to hear what you have to say.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Joyce Kwamina was a prominent member of Western American Day Carnival Association. She was our business manager. She wore many hats, and she worked hard to have this carnival to what it is today. She's the one that started the Children's Parade how many years ago. And she was the type of person that if you told her that you wanted something, any one of the mass or the steel band, she would go out there and work hard together. She continued under with Mr. Lizama. That's how far back she started with Mr. Lizama.
From Harlem.
And Mr. Lizama had her under his wings. Like anything he had to do, he would go to her because she would be there to help him and to go to all the different meetings. So it is fitting that she deserves this recognition for the many years of what she did for the community. I'll speak a little more later on.
All right. Thank you for your intervention. Is there anybody else who would like to add a few?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
My name is, good evening, everybody. This is Michelle Quamina, the daughter of the deceased Joyce Quamina. Good evening.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening. How are you? How are you?
Okay, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. I'm happy to be here this evening. It's not an easy task for me because it hasn't been that long since my mom passed away. But I want to say, I was also one of the youngest members of WIATCA, and I was under all the members like Miss Seeley and, you know, all the, I'll call them legends, so to speak. And my mom started doing mass from Trinidad and Tobago because my grandfather, DeCuster Jones, deceased, had a mass band, and it was a dragon band, and my mom learned under him sewing on the scales, which was very tedious because scales, as you know, it's small, and he had the longest cape ever for the old mass band. And she also worked under the great legend, deceased George Bailey, Peter Minshall, who is still alive today. They were very good friends. And Saldina, a lot of the legendary mass people. And my mother also did lectures at John Jay College, my alma mater, brought the culture there many years ago. She also lectured at Usning and Sing Sing, brought the culture there to the jail. And they were very they were very excited about it. And she also spearheaded for 10 years a show, the Calypso segment of that in the Bahamas. They asked her to come on board, and she would do that and then run back over to New York to continue, you know, Labor Day. And as Miss Seeley said, she spearheaded the Kiddies Carnival. Then she did Panorama. I mean, Mommy did a lot of things. And, you know, even the police department, they called her a shock because they said once she had her mind made up to something, I think he passed away now, Chief Shull. He said, you know, your mother's a shock because she circles the water. She needed to get something done for the pen, and she would not give up. And he had to give in. He said, you know what, Joyce, you got it. You're a shark. So he started calling her a shark. So, I mean, that's who she was. She's been called by a lot of names. Trailblazer, you know, strongest woman of Carnival, written by John Crow. She was just a phenomenal human being, not just because she was my mother, but that's who she was. And if you ask her to do something and you ask her to do A, she'll do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and maybe H. So that's who she was. And I don't want to take much time, you know, monopolizing, but these are just only a little snippet of the memories I had of my mom. So thank you so much.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Prior to this meeting, I went and read all the testimony already. So I know she was given the name Queen of Carnival.
Yes.
Okay. So I went and did my homework to make sure. So
yes.
Okay. So since we don't have too much time, what I like to
could I have 2 minutes?
Oh, yes, no, that's what I was about to say. Is there anybody else for the next 2 minutes? Please go ahead.
Okay, first of all, this is an honor and a privilege for me. Miss Seeley, Michelle, it was Miss Quamina and Miss Lizama. I had the honor and privilege to be the professional fundraiser for the organization in the late 80s. At that time, there was 3.5 million people on the Parkway. And Miss Lizama and Miss Quamina is responsible for developing the carnival to that level, 3.5 million people. And with that, we are talking about shows, we're talking about the Kiddies Carnival, we're talking about, you know, sponsorship, we're talking about the breakfast, we're talking about the relationship with the community, and we're talking about the steel band. We're talking about a production. And also it was known to be the largest cultural event probably in the world.
Yes, it is.
3.5 million people. And they were doing this on a shoestring budget, but they still had the greatest show in the world. Because of their natural skill, their natural intelligence, their natural talent, they were able to pull this together and have the relationships with all the people combining it. The steel band, the mass bands, the community, the police, the politicians. They were able to coordinate this year after year. Like I'm saying, for me, I started in the late 80s with them, but I knew that they were working on this long before. Long before. Yeah. So again, Mr. Lizama and because they were a pair, they were known as the dynamic duo too. Any praise or any recognition, they deserve it all. They deserve it all and more, and then some.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I absolutely agree. I came in contact with the carnival when I was pretty young in the 1973, so I've been watching it ever since. So I think it's more than deserved that we have a Steve Conan for her. At this point, I would like to ask the committee, I would like to put on a resolution to the committee that this committee truly endorses the street renaming, so we could bring it to the executive board and eventually to the general board for recognition. And we will also get that information to the council people that are responsible to make all the logistics to make it happen. And hopefully as soon as it's done, we'll have a live celebration at the corner of Northland Avenue and President Street. So I will learn, for the member of the committee, I would like somebody to make a motion that the Transportation Committee of Community Board 9 recommends this co-naming.
I'll make the motion to recommend the co-naming as requested. I think it's a great idea.
I second it, Felice Robertson.
Felice Robertson, okay. Are there any discussion? It's been properly moved and seconded. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. All right, so Khalid, please note a motion was passed unanimously, and that will be reflected in our minutes. So thank you very much for you guys for coming in, and I think we're more than welcome, because what I like to say, the economic contribution to New York City has been tremendous over the years. So to have 3.5 million people on the parkway and all this, so it's a win-win situation for all of us. I think she more than deserved. Maybe we could, if I can, I would name the whole stretch. That's how I feel about it. Not just a block. Okay.
Thank you.
Before you close, I would like to say something more than what she did.
Yes,
the
sure.
vending that she did on the parkway, she was instrumental in doing that, starting that. Yeah. And in 2002, we did an economic survey of what this parade brings in. And I have a copy, I could get it to you all to see. It was over 300 and something million dollars that was brought into the city. You know, so this is what, and we don't get the support that we should get, because like in Toronto and in Florida, the city helps them because you bring in all these people in, you know, so they're spending. I could remember that this is Conrad Bakery. He told me that after Carnival, Labor Day, Monday, the Tuesday, his revenue goes up because people come, they come from away, they buying the Caribbean, you know, the coconut bread, they come and stroll and stuff. So, you know, we've been working on this since 1967. Mr. Rufus Gorin is the one that started the carnival in Brooklyn. It came from Harlem. And he got with Mr. Lizama, and they called a friend bring a friend, a friend bring a member, bring their family to what it is today. And I hope that we'll come back, that we could have that amount of people on the parkway again. And thanks to Cheryl. She did a wonderful job for us raising the funds.
Last thing I like to say, if you have that information, you could send a copy of it to the board. And I think I should also send a copy to the various council person that have that information as supporting document when they introduce the resolution at the city council to really boost that. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I
just want to give
appreciate
an update.
all. Yeah. And now we're moving to the next item in the agenda, which is community updates.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is having a good night. My name is Khalid Jamaat, Community Associate here at Community Board 9. Hope all is well. I just want to give an update on the outstanding committee concerns request to DOT. Just know that we have been working with our council members in preparation, have a meeting with the borough commissioner on these DOT concerns and requests. If you have any more questions or concerns, any more ticket numbers that you have, you can send them to the board office and we'll work on it. Thank you.
Okay. I think I missed something. I wanted to get the approval of the minutes, but I wanted to get this particular resolution out of the way. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
I'd like to ask a question
Sure.
to Khalid. Khalid, were you just referring to the email that came out about a week or so ago that was asking Transportation Committee members to submit issues to someone at the DOT for discussion or review?
Yes, I believe so. That was it. We were compiling a list of all those ticket numbers so that it could be, looked upon.
When you say ticket numbers, you're talking about outstanding issues that had been assigned a ticket by the board or by DOT, or are these things that we as community residents are aware of? See, that's how I interpreted the email, that if we...
You can keep on going.
Well, I thought it was asking for input from the committee about things that we see.
That too, but also the past outstanding requests and all that, that's all being compiled. So if you have more, you could definitely send that in so that it could be added.
Okay. Can we just tell you, or can it be documented here at the meeting and you can make a master list and just send it in? I mean, I only have one thing that I'd like to have an answer provided. It's something that came up before. It's with regard to the project at the corner of Empire, Washington, and Franklin, which is almost complete. It's like 99% complete. And my question is something that we had asked about, which is simply who's going to be responsible for maintaining this plaza. It's not a park. It's not private property. I've seen these plazas in other areas, and usually they're right in front of a store where the commercial entity is somehow playing a role in keeping it clean, picking up the chairs. There's usually chairs and tables that are set out daily, but that's not the case here. This was put in a place next to a large parking lot across the street from a fast food restaurant. There's nothing, no commerce directly in front of this plaza.
Right.
So I'm just wondering who's responsible for it. That's my question to DOT.
Okay. I don't have an answer on that, to be honest with you, but I could, go tomorrow and speak about it with the team to see what's going on with that. If you could email the board, just so I could just have it on paper, so it could be looked over.
All right.
But I don't have an answer for you regarding that area today.
Right.
So Khalid, let's reflect that information on the minutes, and hopefully, and then we could report on it back at the next meeting. So that
may I add to Mr. Jeffries' comment and say that there's a school there, and there's going to be many activities. So this creates a great deal of traffic. You have bus turning, you have the school bus that's going to be there. I find it to be very hazardous. As long as I've been on this board, this was a topic of discussion, and we asked them not to do it. We said the park is right there, only feet away. Why? And Mr. Jeffrey is correct. Who's responsible for this?
For that.
This was not a good idea. And as much as we protest, and I've lived here with my parents since 1970, so it's never been a problem there. I don't understand why they're making it a problem.
What up,
Okay. Well, let's find out what the answer is from DOT and the people and the powers that be, so we could see, because the only thing I can think about is maybe get the school engaged, since they're going to be directly affected by that. Maybe some kind of a group can be made, because you have the Western Beef, the supermarket across. And you have the school, of course. Maybe some kind of collaboration between the school and the supermarket. Maybe that can come together with some kind of a solution to more or less in terms to attend to that. So I think an approach should be made to the school and the commercial entity that's right there to see is there anything else that can be worked out. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Okay, and so we will follow that up. Go ahead, Ms. Robertson.
Okay, so the other thing is this. On Washington and Montgomery, there's a crosswalk. And I've been asking for years to not just put a sign to state that it's, the speed is 25 miles per hour, or limit, but to put something that would, like a yellow light of some sort of caution, because we cross to go to the bus. We cross to go across the street. We cannot walk in either direction or in a direction that will cross over to the light, because the intersection doesn't have any capability of doing so. It doesn't make sense. I would have to go to totally on the other end of Sullivan to cross safely, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay, I have given pictures showing the cars that went into the store. There's been a lot of collisions. I believe someone did pass away from an accident, and I've been trying for years. Instead of focusing the energy and the money in clogging up and creating congestion, they need to look at saving lives. Okay, and that too, with blocking that side street there that was just mentioned, will also create a hazard, okay? Or I hope never, to a point where someone will be extremely hurt.
Right.
But if we could please focus, I have some attention, because I really don't know what else to do with, it's been years. I mean, I've shown proof, they can go to the precinct, or I can go to the precinct and see what other evidence I can get, or we have to do something about this corner. It's very, very hazardous.
Well, I'm thinking this is something, if you said you've been submitting it for years, it probably is in the need assessment of the community board. And I think this is coming up again. My suggestion is really for that committee, maybe we probably will ask to get somebody from the Department of Education to come here, and some of the council people involved to see and restate that and be a little more active, because I see you asking to put a traffic device there to improve the safety of that area. I think if we push it, then we'll probably, I mean, sometimes it takes a long time to get this done, but I don't think this is not the time to give up. So we got to keep asking and keep pushing. And that's what I would suggest that we'll do. So if necessary.
Because there's a lot of speeding.
But I think the only, what I'm saying is that the fact that there's not a definite chair for this committee, that's slowing things a little. Hopefully, I will bring this to the executive committee meeting, since I'm sharing this, to urge them to underscore the urgency of really addressing those couple of questions in these units. So I'll make sure I'm going to do that next week when the executive committee meets. Under the
I appreciate it.
So I promise you I will do that. I'll take it on myself to do so. Okay.
And I would add that this has been on the table since Demetrius.
Demetrius Porter was the chair. Okay. We'll do that. Yes. Okay.
And also, I don't mean to monopolize, but one other thing, I sent pictures in from a light that's on Crown that's been blocked by trees. So it's hazardous for drivers to really see the light, because the tree covers the the lights for them to
Crown
see.
And where, please?
Washington.
Crown in Washington?
Crown in Washington, yes.
Okay. I'm trying to, So, well, I walk the, well, I do a lot of walking within there, so I'm going to try to pay attention to that and see what you're talking about. Absolutely.
I would appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I want to share my screen to show the minutes. I'll give you guys a few minutes to look at it.
We have some hands raised.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't see the hands. Thank you for allowing. I didn't see that. Hold on.
I think Valerie was next.
I think I see.
Thank you, Paco.
I'm sorry. We have three of them: Valerie, Paco, and then Eva. Let's go ahead, Valerie.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to try to be brief. I don't want to focus on so much that project, but we have been talking about a lot of things for a long time. And although we don't have a chair right now, these things have been ongoing. So someone should have been accountable to ensure that we got resolution to something, but I'm just going to let that go. But I do want to add to the list as they're looking, the left turn out of the parking lot from Western Beef as the people join the traffic going south and northbound. You know, how do they easily get out of there without, you know, they need something there. You know, I don't know what they have planned. You said, Jeffrey, that it's almost finished. So do we have to inch out all the way into the street? I haven't been there in a while.
Well, no.
I'm sorry, it is finished.
Okay, so it is finished and it's a good exit.
Well, they moved the point where the driveway used to enter Franklin Avenue out maybe about 5 to 6 feet so that you're entering the street at Washington Avenue now. Because before that driveway used to enter into Franklin Avenue.
Correct. So
it's going straight out. So the amount of space that a car traverses the sidewalk is almost 50% more than what it used to. But once you get to Washington Avenue, if you want to go south, there's nothing to say no left turn, right? So people are going to continue to do it. It's actually less of a challenge than it was before. Because you're in the street, you're further into the street than you used to be. Before, you used to have to kind of cross Franklin and get to Washington and make that turn. Now you're actually entering at Washington.
Okay, well, I'll let that go. But this other issue is ongoing, and I do have a number I'm trying to find while I'm on the phone now. Thank you, Jeffrey, for your comment, though. The bike rack at Major Owens Health and Wellness Center on Bedford Avenue. We've been asking, we've celebrated a year at Major Owens now, and we've been asking since almost then to have bike racks out in the front of our facility so that it would allow people to park their bikes properly instead of hitching them onto the fence. So if you could check into that, for me to follow up, because that's definitely been on there, because they said that they Mia mentioned that they had to have a needs assessment or some impact study or whatever it was. They were supposed to have it. Well, you know, it's been a while, and you know, they said pandemic, but we muddling through. Now we up to RSP. So, you know, we need to really look at this. So if you could, you're a new ear here at the community board, I see. So we're just giving you an earful of all the things that
I have no problem getting everything, because I don't mind going and be an advocate if it's not being done right. That's how
I appreciate it.
But is that a transportation? Is that a transportation issue, Valerie?
The installment of bike racks, she said it was, that she was supposed to be bringing it up to DOT, because I think they do assessments. Because is that part of transportation, bicycles? When I don't know.
I think it is. I think it is, because it would be the same thing if they were going to put those city bikes there. Because for the city bikes, the transportation committee had to deal with that. But we're taking notes. Khalid is taking those notes. We're going to bring those to the executive committee. Like I said, when we meet next week, I'm going to make sure all these things are brought in. And hopefully,
thank you. I appreciate it.
Hopefully when the transportation committee meet next year, hopefully you'll have a chair, so then there will be more follow-up regarding those questions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, I think next we have Paco.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just curious. I mean, I already emailed a big list of probably 20 different things over. So I assume the board has it. I think Mia confirmed, but I feel like we've been talking about this, assembling a list of things since the first meeting of this current year, or of this community board year. So is there a date set for this DOT meeting, or like what's the timeline? Because
my understanding is that the district manager has a cabinet meeting every month where he meets with transportation, and this is where those particular issues should be brought into whoever's from the Department of Transportation to be followed up. And I think what we should do is to ask at the next general meeting, when the DM is giving his report, to see how he did address those questions. I will address this question with him at the next executive board meeting. I'm saying this is what the committee is looking for. Can he please include in his district manager report those particular issues that you've been compiling since the beginning of this fiscal year? Okay?
Okay. And I just want to stress the urgency of some of them, because the temperatures are getting too cold to restripe any missing crosswalks and bike lanes and all sorts of things like that, that I understand it has to wait and go to the next meeting, but you know, by the December meeting, it's a moot point, and it's going to be April before we get, you know, basic lines on the ground.
I hear you. I hear you. Okay. Miss Eva Ripoto, you're next.
You're on mute.
Miss Ripoto, you're muted. Ripeto, not Ripoto.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Girls, give me a minute, please. Sorry. So just a minute. Celeste, I'm not kidding. Give me a minute, please. So it's the witching hour over here. I'm following up on a request that I've asked for. Girls, leave the room, please. Speed reducers on the block of Lefferts Avenue between Washington Avenue and Bedford. I've requested that, yeah. And so my Khalid, my last DOT denial number is 550135 L9J0, and I can email that to you too.
Please email it to the board, definitely to the
sure.
district
So
manager.
yeah, and I've emailed this to the board, and I've have had a lot of buy-in from the board and the community, the block association. Please, just a minute. And I'll just say, sorry, I had my whole spiel, and of course the kids came in at this exact moment. We've sought a lot of buy-in. I've been in touch with Council Member Rita Joseph's office quite a bit, Assembly Member Brian Cunningham. So there's a lot of momentum, it feels like, but DOT has just been unresponsive, and what they have responded has been very inconclusive, or no good rationale Meanwhile, we have speed bumps on the block immediately north, the block immediately south, the block immediately to the east. So I don't know what the rationale is why our block, which is effectively an off-ramp for Flatbush Avenue. I mean, cars just speed down. I'm preaching to the choir. I think I don't think, you know, there's any problem on the community board level in terms of supporting this, but you know, this has been, it's predated my living in the on the block by I think 10 years. This has been a long time issue. I feel like some sort of speed reduction is a no-brainer. I mean, we're a community of residents. We're not a commercial district on this block, so.
Well, I can tell you that this is an issue that's been coming up at every meeting. Our second vice president, Francisca Leopold, live on that block. She's been bringing this thing on almost every meeting. Have you ever interacted with Ms. Leopold?
Many, when I mentioned earlier that I've gotten buy-in.
Because I know they've been asking, they've been denied. The only thing that happened, instead of putting the speed bump, they put a camera. And that doesn't stop people from speeding, which is the main problem. So I don't know where the answer is. And I think probably maybe a certain effort, a certain pressure to the elected, maybe the way to go to really push for that. Because we don't want to wait until somebody gets killed.
Exactly. I spoke with Rita Josephs at our block association, or excuse me, our block party. We invited her, and I actually ran into Brian Cunningham the other day, got to meet him, told him about it. I've emailed, I've CC'd all the local electeds on my correspondence. I just, so it seems like a pretty low hanging fruit. I mean, and I'm not a transportation specialist, but to add something.
I mean, it's been 10 years. I don't know, me, I'm from the radical. I mean, when I went to college, we go out, we take out to the street. Maybe the block association should do a street blockage to get the attention. I don't know. If all this stuff you guys have not done, then you have to take direct action. I think that's the way to do it. That way somebody gonna have to
days or hours in the day.
That's my suggestion. So that's me thinking, but you guys decide what to do on this one, because I know, I mean, since I've been on the board for the last 3 years, this issue has been coming up consistently.
And if I may, I know that the DOT gave an explanation. Unfortunately, I can't remember what it was, but they did respond and give a reason why they are resistant to putting the speed, because Eva, I think you're asking for speed bumps, yes?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm asking, I mean, I've stated speed bumps or other speed reduction, you know, leave it to the professionals to do it. I don't want to dictate how they choose to calm traffic, but something should be done. And I think, Nicholas, to your point, you know, the installation of a camera is an admission of guilt. I mean, we have a very fast block, and that goes the wrong way, though. I mean, we have a literal two-way street over here, and cars fly down it. So Jeff, that's interesting. And you know, people have always cited, well, maybe it's for emergency vehicles, but I kind of only see emergency vehicles take Lincoln, and it's like they have speed bumps and it's one way. I don't only see, but like that, you know, it's regularly a route that they take. So, but I just request, like, short of going out and putting things in the road myself, I'd rather the community board, you know,
I think that it might be helpful if the community, if the block association makes a statement that includes how the cameras have failed to do what DOT obviously wants to say to you that they would do. What is that? The speed, the cameras were supposed to slow people down. So if the folks on the block are able to put in writing that that has not happened, then I think that would bolster your argument to the, you know, take it to the next level.
Didn't DOT approve it and then renege on that?
I think they gave tacit approval a long time ago, and then like needed something else, and then I don't know if it was crickets, but clearly nothing was followed through on.
That's what I heard about this story. They approved it, then they changed their mind. So like I said, I've been hearing about it consistently almost every year. So we'll take just solid. If you have anything more to add as our last speaker on this subject, so we could move on with the agenda. Trying to get you guys out there as quickly as we can today.
Before Jay starts on a new topic, can I just make one other comment on Eva's?
Sure, go ahead.
So I was on Lefferts earlier today and noticed that Lefferts east of it was either east of Albany or Troy. It's also wide, and I'm sure is some speeding, but they also have marked the parking lane. They've striped it out. So I don't know why it's only east and it's not west towards where she is coming off Flatbush.
Right.
If they would just mark the parking lane the way that they have done on Sterling Street, where they can, it helps just visually narrow the road. It doesn't change any of the geometry, but those visual lines on there do tend to help slow traffic. So I think if we could just, if the community board itself can make this request, because I mean, I've been on emails with Rita Joseph's office as well, and she's furious with DOT for just dragging their feet. I think everyone is agreeing that we need traffic calming, but DOT is still not doing anything. And I think it's in part because we're only asking for speed humps that have their own set of criteria, and there's a backlog citywide, that if we perhaps also say, can you just continue the stripe, that will narrow the road, and we can reference Sterling Street as one street over as local reference. I think that may help. It still is a Band-Aid. It's not a full solution, but I think it could be done rather quickly.
Okay, well taken. Well taken. All right, Jay, you're next.
Sure. Just by introduction, because you asked everyone to introduce themselves. I'm former member of Community Board 9 Land Use Committee, and I have a interest in the district because I'm a member of the Kingsbrook Jewish Shul out on the southeast part of the district. So my concern, I don't know how many people know about this, and I'm not sure how many people are close to the southeast part of the district, like east of Nostrand. But there is a massive project that's coming, construction project that a lot of people are in the dark about. They haven't told people. It's these Vital Brooklyn projects, in which what they do is, it's a New York State project, so it doesn't have to go through the community board for ULURP. And what's coming, and they typically, what they're doing is, the projects are approved. The winning bidder has the details, they have the architectural, they have all the specifics. They don't tell the community board. They come here a year later to the community board, and they'll come here like a month before their general plan, and there's not enough time to even object to it. So that's what happens on something called Clarkson Estates, in which they came to a ULURP meeting in May, and they didn't give the community board enough time. My issue as it relates to transportation is there's 900 units that are going to be built at Kingsborough West, which is at the corner of Albany and Clarkson, 900 units. They're also adding a 285 approximately supportive housing unit. They're rebuilding the 2 homeless shelters also. They're putting a supermarket there. There are questions as to how many parking spots they're going to be having. So one of the concerns for people in the neighborhood is there's a lot of people are not close to the subways in that area. A lot of people use cars. So the question is how many parking spots, how much off-street parking is it going to take up? How many parking spots are they going to have on site? So they're not giving the details, and they're not disclosing it. I did a FOIL request to New York State, to ESD, Empire State Development, on this project, and I asked them for the details. I asked them in September of 2021, and they're supposed to do it in 30 days. They will not send me the actual the FOIL request. They will not respond to it. They were the winning proposal in June of 2021. So they have specifics, they have architectural. So I would ask if the Transportation Committee, because there is a massive project that the community board will have no say on, that was won, the winning proposal was in June in 2021. If you can get a FOIL request of all the documents that relate to Kingsborough West, because there's going to be a tremendous parking situation. It's on that corner. It's like a parcel. And what they're going to do is, it's not just going to stop at Albany and Clarkson. They're going to go all the way to Utica. They're going to do the whole parcel, and they're going to because it's New York State land, and there's a directive to put affordable housing. So they are tremendously increasing the bulk. It's probably going to be a traffic nightmare, because you're also going to have a new supermarket by Rutland and Utica, and there's a new Vital Brooklyn project going there.
Yes, with the old Kingsburg.
That's exactly it. So, and they're not providing a whole lot of parking. They're providing parking, but it's to the people who work at the hospital. 200 are going to go to the people who work at the hospital. So they're taking away a lot of parking spaces from a section of the community that relies upon parking spots, off-street parking. There's a playing field there, old boys and old girls playing field.
Yes, that's right on Wetland, right?
Exactly. And when I used to own a property on Schenectady, and you used to have people used to come there. They used to come with chairs, families, and everything like that. They used to park around it. There's not going to be any parking around there, because there's a lack of off-street parking. So it's going to affect the kids there, and the community board is not being informed of it. And it's there's ways to stop it. So I'm on the house. I participate in the housing, and we're trying to have the community at least have a say. But 900 units and not saying how many parking spots is a concern. So the issue is, if you can do maybe a FOIL request to find out on, if anybody wants to Google it to see what's going on, it's called Kingsborough West Vital Brooklyn. So if you go online and you type Kingsborough West Vital Brooklyn, you'll see the RFP, and it shows it. So if you can do a FOIL request. And number two, I would also ask if there could be a traffic study.
Okay, so it's two things you're requesting. So I would bring that. I will bring those two things to the executive board, and hopefully to the general board to see if we could get.
And I'll tell you in advance, there are strong political winds, and I'll say this publicly, about this project being talked about. It's a $400 million project, and there's a very strong political winds about even discussing this and telling people and everything on that. Okay, so I request a traffic study, because to see the volume of the traffic, and also a FOIL request so that we can see how many parking spots they're going to give on site and how much they're going to lose.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Duly noted. Duly noted. Okay. Before we move forward, we're going close to 8 o'clock. Let's see. Like I said, I'm going to share my screen because I never got a chance, for some reason, it escaped me. Is there any changes to the minutes? I just want to go to the approval of the minutes. Let me share my screen. So I'll go to it very quickly. And then we're going to go to, all right, this is the last minute. So if everybody to take, especially the committee members, take a quick look. Is there anything you want to change, you want to add to see if it was, then we could move to approve those minutes from the last meeting. So let me know when I can move in so you could see the rest of the thing, because I have a few minutes. Let's see. Is this okay with everyone so far? Is there anything you want to add or change? Make a note of that. Can I move it to the next pane?
All of the minutes look good to me.
Yeah, this is some of the items that was discussed at the last meeting. Okay. So, anybody, does everyone any changes, addition, deletion for the minute? If so, I'd like to get any motion to approve those minutes from the last meeting.
Motion to approve.
Motion has been made by Mr. Paco Abraham. Is there a second?
Second, the motion to approve.
And what's your name?
Calista.
Calista de Jesus. Are there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Notify by saying aye.
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 The ayes have it. So minutes has been approved. So we'll stop sharing. Go to. Okay. Are there any old business?
You have a list of them.
Okay, yeah, I see that. So we did talk a lot about in this open discussion. Any new business?
I have one specific thing that's, I guess, both old and new business. I know Jeffrey already mentioned the DDC project at Empire Franklin, Washington.
Right.
I wanted to discuss the other DDC project that's also soon to wrap up at the bottom of the gas station at the triangle, if you will, between Flatbush, Washington, and well, where it intersects with Lincoln Road.
Okay.
So the
for those projects look like it's about to wrap up too.
Yeah. So I've been following that for several years, and back when Eric Adams was borough president, he had put some money towards fixing or improving the crosswalk there. And I think it was some of that money eventually that helped get the sidewalk. If you go over there now, you see the sidewalk a larger sidewalk has been made, where it was just paint and it was very irregular and cars could kind of go the wrong way. It was a little messy. So there's now a larger, better improved experience for pedestrians there. However, this committee for several years has discussed the kind of bad neighbor that gas station is sometimes in letting, whether it's legal or not, but they have the parking lot there on the south end by that bottom of the triangle, and the cars often will encroach as far as they can go. Wherever it's paved, they will encroach on the pedestrian space. Now that the sidewalk has been extended and there's no clear delineation between public sidewalk and private gas station space. My concern is that now the gas station will just let more cars park there, and it will kind of undo the progress that was made in making a safer crossing for pedestrians. So I spoke with the community construction liaison for that project and the project manager, who had said in the DDC plans that they have, they were just instructed to pour concrete. They have no instructions. They totally understand and they agree with the probability that the cars will keep going further, just as they have to the north. And we had to get DOT to put those big granite boulders to prevent the cars from invading the sidewalk and sometimes driving up on the pedestrian ramps. So they had strongly advised that if we have something in writing, a formal request from either elected officials or the community board or both, that it's not a lot of money to just put a few benches or granite boulders or something, but some delineation needs to be done based on, I would argue some delineation needs to be done based on whatever the property line border is. Otherwise, we will just have more committee meetings about, hey, remember that new sidewalk that they poured? It's now covered in cars and you still have bad sight lines and stuff. So I would very much, I would make a motion that we as a committee ask perhaps the executive committee to word it or the district office to word a letter, but requesting some attention be made and a work, a work order change to the current project, which is supposed to wrap up around the end of the year. Something to think about pedestrian safety and clearly delineate and create a self-enforcing, I guess, blockage for cars not to encroach upon pedestrian space there.
Is there any way you can put those whole idea in one sentence as a motion and then we'll vote on it?
Sure. Does everyone understand? But before I even try to word
I understand exactly what you're saying, Paco. I've seen the same thing as the project nears completion. I think the boulders would be a simple thing. I don't know if it's more cost. It's probably more costly than putting benches.
Right.
But the boulders would probably be safer also. They already have them on the north end of that triangle. So putting some on the south end would probably be the most appropriate thing. And it would corral the gas station's footprint into what it should be. So yeah, I guess if we could put together a concise sentence, I certainly will second it. And just so we're clear, this is a motion for recommending that the board send a letter to whom?
To the project manager, you said, and the elected? That's what I understand from it.
Yeah, to DDC, I guess, and
DDC.
Yeah, I'm sure DOT as well is partnering with it. And I've already spoken with Rita Joseph's office as well. I'm sure if we CC her on a letter, she could probably send a letter herself. I know she's also pretty keen on pedestrian safety.
Okay. So the motion is what? To get let's try to craft it and put it together, and then we could vote on it, and then we move on. The motion is for the community board to send a letter to DDC and DOT to complete it for me. I'm getting it started for you.
Yeah,
I'd say CCing all of the electeds.
CCing all the elected about putting some kind of a separation, be it a boulder or benches, to delineate the footprint of the gas station. I think that's the perimeter.
Of the gas station property at the south end of whatever.
Of the south end of that station. Okay.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Khalid, I hope you're writing all this stuff for us. So I think we put it together. So Mr. Jeffrey said you're going to second that, right? So we have a motion and we have a second. Are there any discussion? Seeing none, vote for unanimous consent. If you object or abstain, please let us know by stating your name. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, motion carried. The ayes have it. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. I think the next item in the agenda is adjournment.
I want to, before we end, there was another email that was sent, I believe, to everyone from Mia about 3 days ago regarding a seminar coming up in about 2 weeks. It's at the Jewish Museum in Manhattan.
Yes.
It sounds very, very interesting. I don't know if anybody looked into attending. I did. The same day that the email was sent to members of this committee. And on that day, the least expensive ticket was $49 and change, and it was already sold out. The next two level tickets were somewhere around $75 and $90. It was for non-profits and for government entities. I wrote back to Mia the same day. I have not heard from her. I've been calling every day, and I don't know if something's wrong with the community board office phones, but all it says is user busy. I cannot get through because the reason for my attempt to get in touch with Mia is that if this was sent to this board, I don't want to assume that it was something where the expectation was that the board members would spend $75 to $90 each to attend something to obtain vital information for the community.
Right.
So my question simply, and I'll put this to you, is, was there something that the community board was given or can obtain to facilitate some members, if not all the members of this committee who choose to attend this seminar? This actually is like a full day conference,
right?
At no cost to themselves personally.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I was not aware of that. I don't think I was in the part of the email chain. If you can forward that to me, I would love to look at it and I will bring it at the executive board. I agree with you. I mean, each committee is supposed to submit a budget. As a transportation committee, this could be one of the activities that get funded by the board. That's how I feel.
Time is of the essence.
I know time is of the essence. What I would suggest, send an email to the chair. And
who's the chair?
Fred Baptiste. And also the district manager, Dante Arwine, for that concern. And do that as soon as possible.
Excuse me, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have, I wrote that in my notes and I'll follow up with you tomorrow.
Okay, so did you see the email? Because
I didn't see the email. I don't know what you're talking about, but I will follow up. I'm usually at the phone, so for us not to, for it not to not go through, I apologize for that. But I will reach out to you concerning this tomorrow with the other concerns.
Okay.
This is Felice Robertson. I would like to be informed about this email that Jeffrey is speaking on as well.
It was sent out, Felice, on Monday, just this past Monday, November 7th. I received it at 10:32 a.m. The subject says, FYI, join the Transportation Summit on November 17th. So that's next week. Right? And it's Thursday, November 17th. City and State New York will be hosting a transportation summit.
Right. That's what I was going to ask questions. There's charge for the city and state has all those things. Yes.
Right. And it's from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Museum of Jewish Heritage.
Correct. Yeah, I remember seeing that on the city and state. I reached out on the daily basis.
So you saw it. So
no, I see it on the city and state mailing because I read city and state every morning. Okay. So that's how I know about it. But I didn't know they sent it to the community board.
Does everybody on the committee know about this? Am I the only one that got this?
I saw it too.
Okay.
Looks like a great lineup of speakers, but
yes,
very expensive.
It's some very interesting topics that is Callista still on? I know that we've had conversations about things going on outside of our local environment, outside of this country, and I think that this would be an opportunity where we might hear some interesting things about how other areas are dealing with some issues. And it just seemed like, something that I would try and make the time to attend. But, I didn't want to spend $90.
Even not you, at least even the district manager, maybe something that he should attend.
Yeah.
So I see the email, Jeff, and I see your response, and I'll follow up tomorrow, and Felice as well, and whoever. If you're interested, if you find the email, just send the email to the board office. We can see what we do on our end.
Okay, so you see what I wrote to Mia, so I'll look forward to hearing back from you, and if there's something that could be done right now, I think I'm still available, holding that spot open on my calendar. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for a great meeting, folks. I don't know if anybody has anything else you want to add. It was my pleasure to be an handheld chair for today, but I'll try as much as I can to attend as many committee meetings in addition to mine, and because I live in the community, I want to make sure we have the community work for all of us. And that's it. For a segue, I would love to accept a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Please, Robertson makes a motion.
Felice, who makes the motion? Felice?
Felice.
Okay,
yes.
Felice made the motion. Is there a second?
Jeff Granum seconds.
Jeff Granum comment. Let's note that this meeting is adjourned at exactly 8:13 p.m. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. And hopefully I'll see you guys at the general board meeting this month. But also feel free to attend any other committee meeting because they're open to everybody.
But the problem is that I don't see the Zoom because I tried to attend the ULIT meeting and I didn't see the Zoom.
If you go to the website and also to the email blast that sends every Friday, the links are there.
Every Friday, there's an email blast.
Correct.
And that will show the meetings that are coming up along with the Zoom.
Correct.
All right.
Along with the Zoom link.
Okay. Thank you.
So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys.
Thank
Been
you.
a pleasure.
Everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, good night.
You could good night.